moved and seconded to approve the meeting minutes of April 6, 2015. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Public comment. We have one public comment. Ronnie Wilson, try it.
Ronnie Roll. I was really concerned about the fact we found unmarked cars, so I personally went out and checked the county engineer's car. And I'm pleased to report to you that it is marked. So you're safe.
Yes. I think a number of us looked at that car.
The other thing that I did want to talk to is that the capital budget for the Senate got released last week, and it's fairly similar to the House. There's some slight difference. It changes almost the same amount of money, but things that we're really concerned about, the college and the Cascade and the flood authority things, all were the same in both bills, so that should help out. There is one little concern on the flood authority's part because the Senate bill knocked out 4 flood control projects up in King and Pierce County. And of course they've got votes there, and the wrangling, there may be some wrangling about that, but those projects are also important for the water bill that DeBolt and Braun and Hargrove have all got out there, and so I expect that they'll resolve that issue and we'll be safe, but looking good, at least on the capital budget side. We'll have to see on the operating budget. Thank you.
Looks like the House and the Senate have a lot to do, a lot of work. All right. Proclamations. First proclamation, National Public Safety Week in Lewis County. Commissioner Schulte.
Madam Chairman, I would recommend that we bring up one of our citizens who has a wonderful radio voice and a wonderful Southern accent to read this. I just Would you know who that was, sir?
Mark's not here.
No.
Right behind you.
Bobby Jackson? Bobby Jackson.
Would you like to read a proclamation, sir?
Come on up, Bobby. We can give you a copy.
I'll give it to him.
Oh, wait a minute. You can read it up there, right?
I'll bring it here.
He can read it on the screen, Bill. Or Commissioner Schulte.
You know, I just love the voice.
Yeah, Mark thinks I'm from Texas, and I'm not, so.
Yes, we did.
Before the Board of County Commissioners, Lewis County, Washington, a proclamation, National Public Safety Telecommunications Week, April 12th through 18th, 2015. Whereas emergencies can occur at any time that require police, fire, or emergency medical services, and whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property, and whereas the safety of our police officers and firefighters is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who telephone the Lewis County 911 Emergency Communications Center, and whereas public safety telecommunicators are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services, and whereas public safety telecommunicators are the single vital link for our police officers and firefighters by monitoring their activities, providing them information, and ensuring their safety, and whereas public safety telecommunicators of the Lewis County 911 Emergency Communications Center have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients, and whereas each dispatcher has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job in the past year. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of Lewis County declares the week of April 12th through 18th, 2015, to be National Public Safety Telecommunications Week in Lewis County, Washington, in honor of the men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep our county and citizens safe, done in open session this 13th day of April 2015.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, sir. I could not have done it better. It's nice to see a professional.
Yes, yes. We'd like some comments from folks in the audience and some acknowledgments of some of the people that are there too.
I talk fine. Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, Michael Strozik, Director of Central Services. And it was interesting listening to Mr. Jackson read this, because normally I wake up to him in the morning on the radio. And so I was just kind of dozing off. So on behalf of the entire Communications Center upstairs, I'd like to thank you for declaring this coming week as National Telecommunications Week upstairs. And with that, I would like to invite you and other county employees and the public to tour the comm center. This coming Tuesday is what we will consider Fire and EMS Day up in the comm center. The local fire departments and EMS personnel will be up there visiting and doing what they do best up there. Wednesday is County Government Day up there. We will have our county representatives up there, and the board is free to come up. And for Commissioner Schulte's sake, there's snacks. And this coming Thursday will be Law Enforcement Day up there. So again, thank you for having National Telecommunication Day here, and I hope to see you up there.
Would you introduce some folks in the audience who work?
I have two of the staff members with us. Unfortunately, our manager and a couple people are in Spokane for meetings today, but the first lady there is Miss Anita Holt, who has been with the comm center, I want to say 27 years, 26 years, somewhere in there. Okay. Yeah, they're short years, and as the saying goes, time flies when you're having fun. And the other one is Miss Laura Hansen, who is our Spillman technician in the comm center.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Hodgman, would you like to say something?
I don't have the slick voice of all these former talkers, so I'll just tell you what happened. I was on the committee that formed that organization. We originally set it up where it is now on a temporary basis. The program at that time was to build a new center, completely independent from the courthouse in a safe place. But I was instrumental in organizing it to start with.
Well, wonderful. What year was that?
What?
What year?
Well, that was when I was younger.
Oh. Thank you. Any other comments from? Okay. So proclamation number 2. Commissioner Stamper.
Boy, falling a celebrity.
Yes.
This is not going to turn out well, but I'll do my very best. Proclamating the month of April 2015 as Sexual Assault and Awareness Month. Whereas Sexual Assault Awareness Month calls attention to the fact that sexual violence is widespread and impacts every community member of Lewis County. And whereas rape, sexual assault, sexual harassment impact our community, and the statistics show 1 in 5 women and 1 in 71 men will be raped at some point in their lives. And whereas child sexual abuse prevention must be a priority to confront the reality that 1 in 6 boys and 1 in 4 girls will experience a sexual assault before the age of 18. And whereas young people experience heightened rates of sexual violence in young ages 12 to 17 were 2.5 times as likely to be victims of rape, sexual assault, and this is Snyder and Sickman, 2006. Whereas on campus, 1 in 5 women, 1 in 16 men are sexually assaulted during their time in college. Whereas we must work together to educate our community about sexual violence prevention, supporting survivors, and speaking out against harmful attitudes and actions. And whereas when we actively get involved, we can prevent sexual violence. The first step in increasing education, awareness, and community involvement. It is time for all of us to take action to create a safer environment for all. And whereas the Human Resource Response Network is recognized accredited service provider for sexual assault advocacy services for the citizens of Lewis County. Now, be it resolved that the Lewis County Commissioners do hereby proclaim the month of April 2015 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month in Lewis County. We ask that the community members recognize the serious impact of sexual assault and to support and embrace the significant role each of us can play in the prevention of sexual assault. Done in open session in 13th day of April 2015.
I understand we have two community members here. Would you like to come in and speak to this proclamation? Say your name and where you're from.
So I'm Tara Leno, and I'm the Executive Director for Human Response Network, and Diana Peck is our Sexual Assault Coordinator. And Human Response Network has been doing sexual assault prevention activities as well as support services for victims of sexual assault for over 40 years. And we are state accredited by the state of Washington, by the Office of Crime Victims Advocacy, to provide support services to victims of sexual assault. We provide advocacy, medical advocacy, legal advocacy, support groups, and as well as ongoing support to victims and also to secondary victims. So, for instance, if a child is assaulted, we would also be able to provide support services to the parents of that child. And vice versa, if some things like that happen. We have a small grant that enables us to provide some therapy for families and victims of sexual assault. And we are in the process of doing some prevention activities within the community.
If someone needed to help, what number would they call?
748-6601. And it is a 24-hour, 24/7, 365 hotline that they can call. And we will answer any time of the day and refer them. If it is an emergency and they need an advocate right away, we can make arrangements to have somebody respond.
Do you have a 1-800 number for
We
folks
do
in the
have
East
an
County?
800 number, but I don't have it on me.
I think
You
someone
have it?
does.
Oh, yes, we do. So the 1-800 number is 1-800-244-7414.
Okay. Any questions on the board? Thank you very much.
Thank you for your support.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the two proclamations.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve Proclamation 1 and 2. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Against? Motion carried.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the notice agenda, two items, resolution number 15116 and 15117.
Second.
Mr. Elsey.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tim Elsey, Public Works Director, speaking to item number 1 on your notice agenda, and that is a publication of the 2014 County Forces Road Construction Projects and Costs. This is resolution number 15-116. And as you're aware, RCW 3677070 calls for all work done by county forces which exceeds $10,000 to be published in one issue of a newspaper of general circulation in the county with a brief description of the work, together with the true and complete cost of performing such construction by county forces. And we are noticing that we would publish that the county forces provided work for the countywide 3R project for $590,396 in 2014.
Okay. Questions, comments? Okay.
Thank you.
Good morning, Danette York, Director of Public Health and Social Services, and I'm speaking to the item number 2, notice of hearing, as resolution number 15-117. This notice of hearing is to obtain citizens' views on community development housing needs, receive input on proposed projects under consideration and review of the 2015-2016 Community Development Block Grant funding. So this hearing is going to serve two purposes: is to close out the current Community Development Block Grant of the Public Services Grant that's currently going on. That was from June or July 1st of 2014 through June 30th of 2015. So it will close out that one, and it will also hear views and comments for the upcoming one starting July 1st of 2015 through June 30th of 2016. So the notice of hearing will be published in the East County Journal on April the 15th and in the Chronicle on April the 16th. The hearing will be held on or after 10 a.m. on April 27th. For the upcoming CDBG grant cycle, we will receive $100,874 from the Department of Commerce. Of that, $3,500 may be maintained by Lewis County for administering the grant. The rest of the funds will be passed through to the Community Action Council of Lewis, Mason, and Thurston counties to do the services for both Lewis and Mason County. Thurston will have their own.
Okay. Any questions?
They don't qualify through this because of their own.
Just for the people in the audience, we see CDBG up here on
Yes.
Notice Agenda 2, and then we have a hearing in number 8.
Yeah, and you will hear from me again on number 7 because you, as the commissioners, have to authorize me as the individual that can apply for this grant. So I will submit the application to the Department of Commerce. The Department of Commerce will award Lewis County the grant. Then you will hear from me again at a later date for us to subcontract with the Community Action Council. And then in addition to just this public services community development block grant, there are several other types of community development block grants, one of which you will be have the hearing for after this. Clear as mud. And Tim will tell you about that one. Thank you.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to approve the notice agenda, items 1 through 2, number 15-116 through 117. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the consent agenda, items 3 through 7, resolution number 15118 through 15122.
I second.
All right, the first one we have is resolution number 15-118, approval of warrants for payment. And we had 220 regular warrants for a total of $639,190.50. Number 4.
Good morning, Commissioners. David Fine with the Prosecuting Attorney's Office. I speak to Resolution 15-119 on indexing of public records. The Public Records Act gives the people of Washington a right of access to information contained in documents held by county government. The Act goes on, and it encourages counties to index the documents which are held in each of their offices and departments so that people may better access those records which may be of interest to themselves. You can't access it unless you know it's there. The resolution before you today repeals an 11-year-old resolution. It greatly expands upon the range of documents which Lewis County's various elected officials and departments' heads have pledged to index. In preparing this resolution, each unit of Lewis County government has examined its own operations. All 17 offices and departments pledged to undertake the fullest range of indexing encouraged by law, consistent with their own resources. Allow me to commend the present resolution to you as furthering the dual objectives of both transparency and efficiency in county government.
Any questions for Mr. Fine?
Thank you, Commissioners.
Number 5, Suzette.
Good morning, Commissioners. Suzette Smith, Auditor's Office, Financial Services, presenting agenda item number 5, resolution number 15-120. This is the monthly cancellation of warrants. We have 3 warrants to be canceled this month. Warrant 715247 was lost by the vendor, and we have an affidavit received for that. Warrants number 713893 and 716118 were for a court-ordered garnishment. However, we have received a release on that obligation. We still have those warrants in our possession. We can void those warrants and now issue one to the employee directly.
Okay. Questions? All right. Mr. Elsey.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tim Elsey, Public Works Director, again speaking to item number 6 on your consent agenda. This is resolution number 121, proposed vacation of a portion of unmaintained Yoke Street in Packwood, Washington. The property owners abutting the unmaintained portion of Yoke Street have requested that the county vacate that portion of the right-of-way and any other, and all interest other than the requesting parties will be evaluated as part of the engineer's report. This resolution would instruct the county road engineer to examine that portion of the unmaintained Yoke Street and report findings back to this board. If it's found that it's in the best public interest, then we would suggest that we vacate that portion of right-of-way. And if it's found that there are some encumbrances or other access issues, then we would report that we would suggest that you not vacate that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just real quick, it's not the whole street, it's just a portion of it?
That's correct.
I was afraid we would be left with a no yoke street.
No. Thank you.
Ms. York. Okay, here we go.
Once again, Danette York, Director of Public Health and Social Services, and this time I'm speaking to item number 7, resolution number 15-122. As I mentioned before, this resolution will authorize me to submit the application for the Community Development Block Grant, or CDBG, and this is for the Public Services CDBG grant, not to be confused with the hearing that's coming up that is for the Planning Only CDBG grant. And I did speak to this before, that this would be for $100,874, of which $3,500 of that would be maintained by Lewis County for the administrative cost.
Okay.
Thank you.
Questions? All right. It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda items 3 through 7, resolution number 15-118 through 122. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Now we move to a hearing. I'd like to call to order the hearing on CDBG Planning Only Grant regarding Lewis County Water District Number 2, Resolution Number 15-123. We will first have a staff report, followed by a question and answer period. We will then close the question and answer period and open the hearing for formal testimony. And testimony will have 3 minutes. And those wishing to testify should sign in on the sign-in sheet that's over there on the podium. Okay, staff report.
Good morning, Commissioners. As you're aware, on March 30th, we noticed that we would have this hearing today. And Lewis County and Lewis County Water District Number 2 have identified a community development need to seek community development block grant, planning only grant funding for $24,000 to assist the water district to meet the State Department of Health's planning requirements by updating their water system plan. Lewis County Water District Number 2 is an existing public water system serving the unincorporated Onalaska area. In order to ensure that they qualified for this grant, the water district conducted an income survey to ensure that this would serve mostly low to moderate income families. You may be aware that the treasurer authorized the water district to not pay one monthly payment on the debt service owed to the county so that the water district could afford to pay for this income survey. So the income surveys come back, they do qualify, and this would allow them to update their water system plan so that they could apply for further funding for other system improvements in the future. The last water system plan was updated in 1996, and this will bring them into compliance with Department of Health regulations. Do you want to speak more?
Good morning, Shirley Cook from Public Works Engineering. I wanted to expand a little bit more about the Water District's Number 2 proposed project. Like what Director of Public Works, Tim Elsey, explained, their project is to update their water system plan. Their water system plan was last approved in 1996. By law, water system plans need to be amended every 6 years. In addition, their water system plan needed to be updated to address other rule changes, such as water quality rules, treatment requirements, and cross-connection control requirements. They also have to address changes that have occurred in their water system, such as, new piping, finances, since approval of their last water system plan. They are seeking $24,000 to update their water system plan. It does not address administrative costs that will be incurred by Lewis County. The county hopes or will be entering into a subrecipient agreement if they are successful with their grant, and we hope our administrative costs will be paid by the water district.
As I mentioned just a little bit before, in order to qualify for these funds, the community has to qualify as low to moderate income, which means that over 50% of the households make less than 80% of the median household income, Lewis County's median household income. And the income survey showed that it was around the 63% threshold, so they definitely qualify for low to moderate income. And just so you know, Julie Brown with the Water District is here if you have any questions of her.
Any questions from the board?
A couple of things, Tim. We have, so Onalaska is in line with, was it back in, July or something when they asked for the 1 month delay on their payment for the survey? Is that correct? Do you recall?
That's probably in the neighborhood, and I would say that they didn't actually come to the county and request it. That was offered by the treasurer.
Okay, offered by the treasurer. Okay, good. Okay, thank you.
The only other thing that I would say is that the county is allowed to apply for one planning-only grant per year. So this would be that planning-only grant. The water district does not qualify to apply on their own. So the water districts, port districts, tribes have to apply through the local governmental entity, and so the county is authorized to apply on their behalf.
Any other questions?
Looks like Ron is at the mic.
Oh, from us, right?
Oh,
Okay. Okay,
I'm being patient.
so you've signed up, okay? Mr.
No,
Averill?
this is a
Question
question.
answered.
Ron Averill from Centralia. I know that at the time that I was a county commissioner, that District 2 was having a lot of financial problems, and we worked with them in the treasurer's office and try to help them out. Did they finally get their fee schedule up so that it was more in line with the costs that they were getting?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, they have, and they're paying their debt service.
So that they've been running into a lot of problems, and they also ran into a problem with the development up there on Middle Fork Road, which they had made an agreement on and weren't getting the payment for that. So I think that this grant is well needed to help this district out, to help it get on its feet. And I think that the folks that are in the Water District Board have taken their responsibilities and started working to bring it back in line. So.
Any other questions from the public? All right. I'll close the question and answer period. And Mr. Elsey and Ms. Cook, would you like your comments to be incorporated into the hearing?
Yes, please.
Now we'd like to open the hearing for public testimony. Okay, we have no one who's signed up.
So we have no comments from the Water District themselves. Do you have anything you'd like to say? You can come up to the mic. We'd just like to get you on the record that you're here and have a comment.
I'd like to thank Tim and Shirley for all their help. And Mr. Averill addressed, yes, for several years we had ran in the red, and in 2013.
Can I interrupt you real quick? Just for the record, to get your name and your position on the
record, yes.
For the record.
My name is Julie Brown. I am the district manager for Lewis County Water District Number 2. For many years, we did run in the red. We did not have a rate schedule that we did not run like a business until 2013. We have raised the rates dramatically. Our community is starting to accept it and come around. In my 19 years there, we ran in the red for several years. In 2014, we actually were in the black, $14,000 in our general fund and $23,000 in our capital project fund. We did not have to raise rates in 2015 yet because we are holding our own and we are running like a business now. And it's I have to say, it's a great feeling not having to answer the questions, why can't we pay our bills? So that's what I'd like to add.
Yes. Thank you, Ms. Brown.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I will close the hearing for public testimony and would entertain a resolution.
I move that we approve the resolution for the Water District Number 2, Resolution Number 15123.
A second?
It's been moved and seconded to approve the CDBG Planning Only Grant for Resolution Number 15-123. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
And may I make one more comment? And that's that we have a community development block grant information sheet as a handout if anyone from the audience would like more information on the community development block grant funding.
Thank you. Take a motion to adjourn.
You going to make that one?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor, say aye for adjourn. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. We adjourned. Thank you.